Welcome to today's news update. Here are the 20 top stories we are covering. Welcome to the channel. Before we begin today's update, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and press the bell icon to receive notifications for all our future tech updates. Rocket Bell. Diamond Review. Andy Garcia writes, directs, and stars in clever and entertaining contemporary homage to film noir. Cannes Film Festival. Andy Garcia wrote, directed, and stars in Diamond, a contemporary film noir set in modern Los Angeles, where his character Joe Diamond, a 1940s-style private detective, navigates a mysterious case for a wealthy widow while encountering both classic noir tropes and present-day realities. The film blends nostalgia with humor, featuring a strong supporting cast including Vicky Krieps, Brendan Fraser, and Bill Murray, and was shot across 52 locations in just 25 days. Cate V10 is out, the infinite canvas workspace for developers. Cate V10 is a new desktop IDE featuring an infinite canvas workspace that allows developers to organize code editors, terminals, browsers, documents, and AI agents in a freeform layout. It eliminates the need for traditional window management by saving panel positions and project layouts automatically. Users can zoom, pan, and dock panels across multiple zones, with support for detached windows and named layouts. The tool aims to streamline workflow by reducing the cognitive load of managing multiple windows and tabs. Security updates for Friday. No security updates were issued on Friday. The provided text appears to be a copyright notice and trademark information rather than a security update announcement. Linux remains a registered trademark of Linus Torvalds. Classic ASCII game NetHack debuts version 5 just 11 years after last major release. NetHack, the classic ASCII-based roguelike game, released version 5 on May 2nd, marking its first major update in over a decade. The new version introduces new monsters, magic items, and support for ARM processors, while also complying with the outdated C99 programming standard. Originally launched in 1987, NetHack has been maintained by a dedicated team of developers who continue to modernize and expand the game. This release represents a significant milestone for fans of the genre, emphasizing both nostalgia and technical refinement. Security updates for Tuesday. No security updates were mentioned in the provided news body. The text contains only copyright information and trademark notices related to Linux. I installed a Linux gaming distro and got better frame rates than Windows on the same PC. A user reported achieving higher frame rates on Linux gaming distro, Cate OS, compared to Windows 11 on the same hardware, with some games performing better despite running through the Proton compatibility layer. The performance gains were particularly noticeable on lower-end systems like the ROG Ally, where the difference between 30 FPS and 45 FPS significantly impacts gameplay experience. Cate OS optimizes performance through CPU-specific package compilation and custom schedulers. This suggests Linux gaming performance has reached a competitive level with Windows for many users. Security updates for Thursday. No security updates were mentioned in the provided content. The text appears to contain only copyright notices and trademark information related to Linux. Linux developers looking at retiring the x32 ABI. Linux kernel developers are considering retiring the x32 ABI, introduced in 2012, due to its limited adoption and the dominance of the standard X ABI. The x32 ABI aimed to reduce memory footprint by using 32-bit pointers while retaining 64-bit performance benefits, but failed to gain widespread use. Distributions like Debian and Fedora have already moved to disable x32 by default, citing security concerns and lack of demand. With no significant workloads relying on x32 and the syscall space running low, removal is being actively considered. GCC 16 produces faster binaries than GCC 15. Competitive race with LLVM Clang 22. GCC 16.1, released in April, delivers faster binaries than GCC 15 across multiple benchmarks on AMD Ryzen Threadripper 9000 hardware. Tested on a System 76 Thelio major workstation running Fedora Workstation 44, GCC 16 outperformed both GCC 15 and showed strong competition against LLVM Clang 22. All compilers were tested with identical optimization flags, O3 March native, for consistent comparison. GCC 16 compiler delivering some decent performance gains over GCC 15. The GCC 16.1 compiler, released last Thursday, delivers notable performance improvements over GCC 15, according to initial benchmarks. Testing on Fedora Workstation 44 with an AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro 9975WX workstation showed strong performance gains for GCC 16 under identical build flags. The release includes support for AMD Zen 6 and ARM AGI CPUs, new C features, and an Algol 68 front-end. Further benchmarks across more hardware and comparisons with LLVM Clang are planned. Ubuntu 26.04 support added to VMware Workstation Pro. VMware Workstation Pro 26H1 adds support for Ubuntu 26.04 LTS, Fedora 43 and 44, SUSE Linux Enterprise 16, OpenSUSE 16, and FreeBSD 15 as both host and guest operating systems. The Windows version now runs all components as 64-bit processes, while all versions can connect to remote ARM-based XC hosts. Enhanced features include VM notes in folder tabs, updated credential management, and timestamp display for VM creation, and last powered on times on Windows and Linux builds. Security updates for Friday. No security updates were reported for Friday. The notice includes standard copyright and trademark information for Eclectics Inc., user comments, and Linux trademark attribution. Disney just revealed Project Fedora, and we have questions. Disney has announced Project Fedora, a new Indiana Jones-themed attraction planned for Hollywood studios. The project appears to be a significant addition to the park's lineup, though specific details about the ride's format, timeline, and storyline elements remain undisclosed. This announcement suggests Disney is expanding its Indiana Jones intellectual property beyond the existing attractions, potentially drawing from the film franchise's iconic archaeology themes. Security updates for Friday. No security updates were published for Friday. The provided text contains only copyright and trademark notices, with no actual security update information included. The Steam Deck didn't make Linux gaming viable. It made Windows gaming look bloated. The Steam Deck's success with SteamOS 3 and Proton technology demonstrated that Linux gaming could match Windows performance while exposing how bloated traditional Windows gaming had become. Although Linux gaming tools like Proton existed before the Steam Deck, Valve's handheld device brought mainstream attention to the platform's capabilities and efficiency advantages over Windows. Security updates for Wednesday. No security updates were reported for Wednesday. The notice contains only copyright and trademark information unrelated to any security advisories. Another major Linux security flaw revealed 9-year-old issue could spell disaster for users. Security researchers at Qualys disclosed CVE 2026-46333, a 9-year-old Linux flaw affecting major distributions like Debian, Ubuntu, and Fedora, allowing unprivileged users to briefly hijack privileged processes and gain admin access. The vulnerability exploits a narrow timing window when privileged programs are shutting down, enabling attackers to access sensitive files or execute commands with elevated permissions. Working exploits have been confirmed on default installations of multiple Linux systems. Admins are urged to apply updates immediately. The exemptions in age verification laws for open-source operating systems are bad, actually. California and Colorado's age verification laws include exemptions for open-source operating systems, but critics argue these exemptions are ineffective. Services requiring age verification may simply block Linux users entirely rather than implement separate compliance measures. The exemptions fail to address the core issue that most platforms will follow major operating systems compliance approaches, leaving Linux users at risk of exclusion. Linux devs are fighting the new age-gated internet. Colorado's proposed age-gating legislation, SB 26051, would require operating systems to collect and transmit user age data to app developers, prompting concerns from Linux developers about compliance costs and open-source principles. System 76, CEO Carl Richel warned that the bill could undermine open-source computing education and limit Linux's potential, by restricting children's access to system functions. Richel has been actively lobbying Colorado lawmakers for modifications to the bill, arguing that such restrictions contradict the fundamental principles of open-source software. The legislation, originally designed for commercial platforms like iOS and Android, could create significant challenges for smaller open-source companies unable to implement complex age verification systems. GTK2NG, next generation of GTK2, comes back to life. The GTK2NG project is reviving the GTK2 GUI toolkit, officially declared dead in 2020, with growing interest from developers seeking a modernized version of the 24-year-old framework. Hosted on Devuen's Git platform and supported by projects like Pale Moon and Ardor's YTK fork, the initiative aims to bring new life to the legacy toolkit while incorporating past improvements. Thanks for watching. Please do like, subscribe, and share your comments and feedbacks below. We love hearing from you. Thumbs up speech balloon. That's all for today's news. Stay informed, and I will see you in the next update.